Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aew Revolution 2020 review here tonight. This was a solid, good, entertaining pay-per-view. Was it well worth the $49.99 that I spent for this event? Absolutely. They did a good job with this show. I had no major issues with watching it. There was good entertainment here. There was some downtime where it just kind of dragged and it felt a little boring. And I'll tell you guys exactly where that started. But majority of it, overall, it was well worth every cent. I did not have any problems with this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view had everything you're looking for. So, I mean, there was so much shit going on in this show. I just couldn't believe it. There were some moments in this pay-per-view I couldn't even remember. There were so many great spots as well. I can't even state what is the spot of the night. So if I don't have a spot of the night for you guys, I do apologize. But there was just so many great spots in the show that I just can't really pick one, to be quite frank with you. So let's go into the matches here. I'll give you the results. If you haven't seen this event yet, do not watch this video yet until you've gone to see the pay-per-view to get your own opinion before watching this video, because I'd like you to have your own opinions before developing one directly from me, what I have to say about it. If you guys agree with what I have to say, fantastic. If not, leave a comment down below and tell me what you guys thought about some of the opinions I mentioned that are different from yours, and kind of debate that with me. I'd be more than happy to hear from you guys and hear what you have to say on that. The first match right out of the gate from the main card, because I didn't watch the pre-show. I never watch pre-shows, ever. I do not. So there you go. Anyway, let's continue here. So Jake Hager goes one-on-one with Dustin Rhodes, one-on-one to kickstart the match. This match was actually the match that really needed to kickstart this show, and it did a fantastic job. These two guys did a very, very great job together. Dustin Rhodes put over Jake Hager, made Jake Hager look good. Jake Hager looked better than he's ever had in his entire wrestling career. I don't know what the fuck WWE did with Jake Hager, but what they did with him in their company, they completely fucked up with. But what else is new? That's what they're good at. And I have a hunch, just a hunch, but I believe that Vince McMahon is purposely putting WWE out of business and just juicing as much money as humanly possible, and then possibly going to just sell it off to somebody so you can make a shit ton of fucking money. That's all I think this guy's trying to do. I don't think he has any intentions of keeping this company around for a long period of time or have a future. I think everybody is just wasting their time getting mad over this shit. It's time to move on, find a future promotion. This is it. This is definitely a promotion that people can stand behind and be proud to be a wrestling fan. Most definitely. So Jake Hager did win this match. And this match was just, it was awesome. I had no problems with it. 4 out of 5 stars, most definitely. I did not have any issues with this match. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara only went 5 minutes, and Darby Allin wins the match. And the match was great. It was only 5 minutes, and it was good. I mean, it was short, but it was still fucking good. For a 5-minute match. But because it's too short, I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus the Young Bucks for the tag team titles, with them defending their tag team titles. This, folks, was the match of the fucking night. The match of the night. Hands down, the match of the night. Another thing, I will go on record in saying this, the spot of the night, actually, going through all the different spots that I can remember, this spot was the most dangerous one and really fucking sick. They basically did a tombstone pile driver with a force from, I think it was Nick Jackson. Nick Jackson did a forced his hands on Hangman Page's feet and drove his head into the fucking outside floor panel that led to the ring that was actually an entrance. That was fucking brutal. The guy could have broke his fucking neck. You know, it's a very tricky move that they were trying to do on the outside, and it was dangerous. You could hear thuds every time they walked on it. So, I mean, there was some really fucking crazy ass shit that happened in this match. These guys brutalized each other. If anything, this match could have been considered better than the 30-minute Iron Man match that was done this past Wednesday. I was so shocked how great this match was, because it went a full 30 minutes. A full 30 fucking minutes again, without having a pinfall or a submission either. That is some pretty fucking insane shit. The Young Bucks really look like heels here. The fans were booing the shit out of them. I couldn't believe that. Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, Teddy Atlas. I'm thinking of boxing now. What the fuck's wrong with me? Tony Schiavone and Excalibur were all surprised that the fans were even booing them. I was shocked to the reaction that they were receiving from the crowd, because the crowd always responds well to the Young Bucks. Out of everybody, fucking Adam Page was getting the best response from everybody in the audience. Omega, I think he was just getting a great response because he was tagging with Adam Page. Now, after the match was over, this is where I got a little dumbfounded here. The Young Bucks weren't going ahead and shaking the hand of Hangman Page's hand and, embracing him, even though, yes, I will admit this, Hangman Page was no, nice person in the situation, being in a tag team matchup against his best friends. He did spit in his face. He spit in Matt Jackson's face, and I do believe at one point he did spit in Nick Jackson's face as well. Now, with that being the case, I'd be a little hesitant to show signs of respect towards my opponent if they were doing something like that, but at the end of the day, this was competition. You guys are friends. Hug and make up, that kind of thing. And forgive and forget. I mean, this was in the midst of a heated rivalry for tag team gold. I mean, that's a little different. But the Young Bucks were pretty much just congratulating Kenny Omega, while Adam Page was actually the one who got the win for the team. He did the buckshot lariat on his own, not with the assistance of the V-trigger by Kenny Omega. Now, excuse me, I'm getting a tickle, so I may end up coughing. Apologize. Still dealing with this fucking cold, as you may already know if you watched any of the previous videos before this one. This week, I may say. So, I mean, I honestly kind of see it as if Hangman Page is the face in all this, while the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are kind of the heel dickheads for not, congratulating him and giving him a, raising his hand up in victory for picking up a victory on his own without any assistance. Because they tried the buckshot lariat and the V-trigger in that match, and it didn't get the win. So, I must tell you something. That's just me. Tell me what you guys think about that. If you guys agree with what they should do at this point, is make Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks the heels, and Adam Page as a face. But bottom line, this matchup was the match of the night. Hands down, the World Tag Team titles was a 5 out of 5 fucking stars. Easy. Could have been the fucking main event. Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship. Let's be real, guys. This is another typical women's wrestling matchup in the women's division of AEW. Let's be honest with ourselves. Has there been any match really in the women's division of AEW worth pay-per-view quality, a match of the night candidate? No. None of these matches have ever stood out and have been exciting to watch. So my attitude is, who gives a shit? Nyla Rose retained her title against Chris Statlander in an average Joe match for over 12 minutes. And give it a 3 out of 5 stars. That's it. MJF versus Cody Rhodes in a singles match here to finally have this rivalry match. Now I will go on record and say this. I was a bit surprised how this match was turning out to be. This match really didn't get me captivated. It didn't excite me all that much. The build towards it was great, but the match itself was terrible. It was fun. The crowd reaction, though, was dead. And after Nyla Rose and Chris Statlander, that's really where this crowd became dead. Till we got to the World Championship match, which really shocked the hell out of me. But I will say this, MJF plays a great heel. He won by cheating. He had the Dynamite diamond ring in his trunks. He pulled it out. He clocked a Cody in the face and got the 1, 2, 3. Now, I will say this. I have to say that he really did a great job doing some other creepy ass shit, like biting Cody's bad toe that's been busted from that steel cage match. And he really looked like a ruthless motherfucker who was going to do whatever it took to win a match. Cody, he did something that was really stupid. He hit 2 crossroads on MJF, and he still refused to pin his opponent. That was the stupidest thing I have ever seen Cody do in all of his time in AEW. Now, granted, you might come at me and say, well, Bruce, the man is been humiliated by MJF. He's been stripped away of the ability to go after a world championship opportunity at this point because of what this guy has done to him. He has humiliated him. He betrayed him. He slapped him in the back 10 times with a fucking strap. He had to go through hell in a fucking steel cage match against Wardlow, who was no walk in the park. And then you have him in this match. You're not going to want to tear him apart. I get that. I understand where you may be coming up with this if you have that kind of attitude. The thing is, you hit your finisher twice. You can walk away with a victory, and then after the match is over, then you beat the shit out of him with a fucking chair. Take a chair and snap it over his neck and clamp it down on his fucking neck and then, you know, stomp on the chair so you can hurt him really bad and, you know, break his fucking larynx or something. Anything. But lose the match out of pure stupidity and rage? No. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I mean, they could touch back up on that and redo this match at some point down the line. That would make a good amount of sense. Say, hey, MJF, you didn't really beat me. I beat myself, technically, kind of aspect, if you want to go that route with it, to do a rematch and eventually lead it to another matchup between these two guys. But other than that, really, what did Cody really do outside of cost himself a win here? I mean, you get my point. But this match, I'm not going to say it was that bad. I think the crowd kind of made it boring, but I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It did have a great build. The match was pretty average. And that's really all the bad stuff I can say about the event, or about that match, I mean. Now, Pac versus Orange Cassidy. This matchup did gain some excitement later on in the late stages of this match, and the match was only 13 minutes long, so it didn't really get to have a whole lot of excitement going into throughout the entirety of this match. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 star because there was a little too much goofing off. And I mean by goofing off, too much of Orange Cassidy doing his little taps with his feet on his opponent's shins and shit like that. And I mean, I know it's part of his gimmick. He's supposed to be the comic relief kind of character with good wrestling ability. And let me tell you, this guy almost pulled it off. I thought they were going to give this win to Orange Cassidy. Thank God they didn't. Pac won the match with a brutalizer submission hold. And he got the victory and got the hell out of there. So thank God for that. Now, we get on to the main event. This was moment of the night where Jon Moxley wins the title from Chris Jericho. Thank you, Christ, that Jon Moxley won this match. Because, folks, I was put my channel on the fucking line here. My channel was on the line. It was on life support. Because after what they did with Bray Wyatt, with Goldberg, I didn't think they were ever going to do something like that. I thought it was really in the bag. Bray Wyatt was just going to win, get a nice little notch on his belt with a victory over Goldberg, and move on to Roman Reigns, and possibly just lose the title to him. If that's the case, fine. At least he got a big name under his belt. Instead, he loses to Goldberg anyway. So, my attitude was, if Jericho retains this title and all that jazz, I'm done watching wrestling. I'm dead serious to you guys. If Jericho was going to retain this title, I would have been done with wrestling. I would have never watched wrestling anymore. I would have never had this channel. I would have made this review, and I would discontinue doing my reviews from there on. This would have been the finale of my channel. This would have been the last review I ever did, and I wouldn't do it anymore. You wouldn't see another video uploaded by me about professional wrestling. Thankfully, Jon Moxley won this match, became the new AEW World Champion, and here we are. I'm still making videos, and I'm going to make another one tomorrow with NXT. Now, what John Moxley did here tonight was pretty solid. It wasn't nothing huge. It wasn't really huge. It wasn't, mind-boggling. Oh my God, I can't believe this. This is crazy. This wasn't it. It was a nice, average World Championship match. It was okay. Was it horrible? No. It wasn't horrible. It was average. It could have been done a lot better. But given the fact that that World Tag Team Championship match was just so fucking off the chain, it might have just tired the crowd out. That's all I can really think of. Because I got kind of tired after that match my own self. Now, the pace of these matches after that tag team match really became a little bit more like lethargic. Very, very much like WWE type pace. Which I absolutely can't fucking stand anymore. I think their pace of wrestling is boring as fuck. But at the end of the day, the choices of these matches were correct, number one. Number two, they gave value to these choices. It makes sense. And three, John Moxley winning the World Championship was the right decision. Now a new young superstar can go about doing this and be a hell of a fucking commodity to AEW at this point. And soon enough, I think at Full Gear, November, I think in November of this year, we should be seeing John Moxley lose the title to Kenny Omega 1 year after their brutal war that they had with each other at Full Gear in 2019. That's what I think we should be seeing. Second, I will say this about this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view was downright bloody as fuck. I mean, you had MJF bleeding. You had fucking who else was John Moxley was bleeding. I mean, you had bloods galore in this fucking event. There's blood in almost every... There's a blood issue. Somebody's bleeding on every single event or pay-per-view. Now, speaking of blood, they mentioned on March 25th that they will be having a specialized AEW Dynamite episode called Blood and Guts. Now, if you heard this from Vincent Mann, this actually did come from him on an investor call. He mentions that AEW is nothing more than a blood and guts type of wrestling show. Really? Well, Vince, maybe you should have a little more blood and guts and determination. Some blood, sweat, and tears. Something to get this fucking company of yours off the freaking ground again and make it seem more important. But of course, I think I figured out your plan, and that's just to sell it off because you're a lazy motherfucker. That's all I can really say at this point. But this Blood and Guts event is going to have 2 rings containing a fucking steel cage surrounding both rings. And it says, you know the rest. Let's go to war. That's kind of what the promo is doing. That's what they mentioned. The event's going to be taking place in New Jersey. So that should be pretty interesting, especially for people who live in the New Jersey area. And I think it's Prudential Center, which is actually a very nice arena. UFC has performed there plenty of times in New Jersey, so hey, you know, they're really doing some stuff in some nice arenas, and they're not just working in little picky-packy, you know, arenas and shit like that. So this should be pretty fun to see on March 25th. But overall, this pay-per-view, I have to say, I wasn't disappointed. I was pretty satisfied with what I had to see. Wish the crowd was a little bit more interactive and got me a little bit more excited, but overall, I had a blast. I really did. I enjoyed myself. It was a nice, relaxing Saturday night to enjoy some good wrestling. And I had some fun. And I enjoyed myself. So, anyway, at this time, guys, I've been doing this for about 25 to 26 minutes. Leave a comment down below. Hit the like button if you like this video. And hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about NXT's episode from February 26th of 2020. Go over the results and give you guys my opinion on the show. And that'll be pretty much it for this weekend. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.